friends, long time no see. It is Saturday, November 11th, and it has been a year and a half since my last Flosstube video. It's about the time of year when life slows down a little bit here in Maine, and I have found myself really enjoying everybody else's Flosstube videos lately, and really finding the urge to come back and make my own. So here I am. This is Flosstube number 19 for me. You're going to see probably a lot of the same projects, but I have finished some. And then I also have some of my new designs that I would count as new finishes, although they're not new designs anymore. They've been out for quite a while now. I think the newest one came out maybe a month and a half ago or so. I tried to have it out before the October holidays because it's kind of spooky, but yeah, it only came out on Instagram and Etsy, so I'm going to show you all on here, and I hope you like it. Other than that, I've got some finishes to show you, I've got some whips to show you, so I want to get started. I never know what to show first. What do you want to see first? I think we're gonna go with finishes. They feel the most exciting right now. So we're gonna go with finishes that are not my patterns. I've obviously finished my patterns. I stitch my own models. I'll show you those at the end. I don't want this to feel like a commercial because it's definitely just to share my stitching with you, and those are just extra bonus things that come up for me. So in the finished world, so I finished this in the carpool line. I cannot find my finish. There is a picture of it on my Instagram, so I promise there's proof that I did finish it, but I cannot find it. And I stitched it on 40 count, so it's like teeny tiny on a scrap piece of fabric folded away somewhere. But it is heart and hands, needle and thread. My heart is fed with needle and thread, and it is just one of these adorable little patterns. It's gonna go on the top of a like a fun jar of like little scrappy things and doodads and bobs and sewing stuff. So I have a collection of tomato pincushion patterns that I haven't stitched yet, and this is like one of the first ones that I have stitched, so it's gonna go into that little collection. And I collect tomato pincushions too when I find them at the store. I have a lime green one that I should have got it. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. All right. So it looks like I got it at an antique store, and it is like a souvenir from somewhere. On the tag it says vintage pishkuns vintage pishkun. Oh my gosh. I haven't been on camera in a long time. Vintage maybe I should just do a bunch of outtakes at the end. Vintage pin cushion souvenir from Eureka Springs, Arkansas. So you can see, like, it says Eureka Springs, Arkansas right here, and then like the pin cushion is like this cool greeny color, and it has some vintage pins stuck in it. No cool like tops or anything, but so that one was added to my collection. So tomato pincushion patterns are a favorite of mine to collect right now, and hopefully I will have a nice little stash of them all stitched up at some point. I have found that I do have more time for stitching these days, which is kind of nice. My girls are now 6 and 8, and so they're a little bit more self-sufficient. So we've kind of come into a new season of life where, you know, I just actually get to do stuff for me. Hence me sitting down on a Saturday and being able to film a Flosstube video and talk to all of you. Another pattern that I finished, this is Helen D. I think this was her first pattern. Let's see, let's go on here. This was for Kathy Walker's Stand Tall Retreat and Helen designed that specifically for that, and as a giveaway we got all the flosses for it, and I had this scrap piece of blue from another project that I'm going to show you, and got it all stitched up on that. She finished it two ways, I think one as a stand-up and one as a pillow. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it yet, hence it still being in this form. Alright, and then my big finish, I mean it's not a huge finish, but it's a big finish. A lot of this is pretty full coverage. I finished Widow's Walk by Carriage House Samplings. So this was a piece of red fabric that I just had from a fabric stash that got donated to me at some point, and I thought it just worked out perfect. The cover art, or the model, is stitched on, I think, kind of similar. It's more of an orange. And I stitched it on the red. And it kind of made, because there's the moon, so it kind of made me feel like that whole Red Sky at Night, Sailor's Delight, right? So Sailor's Delight. So even though it's called Widow's Walk, to me it's a good thing, because her sailor's going to come home, because it's the red sky at night. And everything's going to be fine. Right? Right? Everything's going to be fine? Okay, so Carriage House Samplings, I finished. So Carriage House Samplings finished Widow's Walk. My pattern is totally thrashed. I'm not good at caring for my patterns. They go in the bag with all the stuff, and then, I mean, it's legible, but it's not in a good way. Hopefully it'll go in a freebie pile. I do have a working copy that I made of it, so perhaps when I put it into a freebie pile, I'll like staple the working copy to it, and then that way whoever gets it as a freebie can actually use the pattern. Okay, we're going to talk about whips now. We're going to talk about my works in progress. I really tried to pull the stuff that I haven't shown you significant progress on, or that I had significant progress on over the time since I've seen you last. So not a lot of the like, oh, I put a tiny little flower motif into this. This is more of the stuff that I made some progress on, or something that I started new. So this is where I track. Each year I make a little list. This list has my carryovers. So I carried over 30 projects from 2022 to 2023. We're not doing a whip parade today, don't worry. I am just going to show you the ones that I really worked on. But I'm going to read you my stats just so I have them for, this is my first video of 2023, so you can, I want the record for me, and you get to benefit from that too. So I carried over 3 from 2017, 8 from 2018, 9 from 2019, 8 from 2020, 1 from 2021, and 1 from 2022. Now, we already talked about Widow's Walk. That was a 2019 start. So I started that 12/29/19 and finished it 9/28/23. So yep. So we started 2023 with 30 whips. I have one new start that hasn't been finished this year. And then I've had, so 3 new starts this year, but they were starts and finishes. One was for Link is My Homeboy Heather's bookish sell. I'm not going to show you that one because it hasn't been mailed yet, and I know a lot of people love the author that it's related to, but I don't want that person to know what they're getting right off the bat without it being in their hands. So you'll see that next time. I will shoot a little video after this and do that whole little insert thing for the next time I make a Flosstube video, which hopefully won't be in, I don't know, a year and a half. Not making any promises, but I really do feel like my life has gotten to the point of being able to sit down and film and do things when they're needed. My kids both read now, so that creates more quiet time in the house, which is really exciting. All right, here we go. So more whips. This is the Caterpillar cross stitch stitch along from, when did we say this was from? I think this is from 2019 also. This is the Deck the Hall sale. I started at 9/22/19. And I think I only have like I think I have like some detail on this wording, and then, don't look at my face, camera. And then I have one more set of stuff. I think it's like make gingerbread, right? That's not on here yet. Yeah. So I think that one goes on the bottom, and then I think it's done. So hopefully that will be something that I get to pretty quick here this year. Like I said, I've been really enjoying people's floss tubes and really being much more inspired to stitch lately than I had in a while. And so I'm hoping that stuff like that will be done and get off of my whip list, because so my 2017s, the 3 of them that are on there, are 99 from Ink Circles, which is a pretty big project, but in reality I could knock it out. Midnight Ride, which is from a Halloween issue of Just Cross Stitch. I don't always have a ton of desire to work on that one. I like it, and it will be really cool when it's done. It's like a longer piece. And then Shores of Hawkrun Hollow, which, I mean, unless I really sit down and make that a focus piece for the year, I don't think that that's getting knocked off the list. So the older whips, a lot of them are BAPs. They're big A projects. And yeah, I don't know. I'm happy. They don't stress me out being there. They are ones that when I'm inspired to work on them, I will work on them. And when I'm not, they will languish in a bag and wait for me to be inspired by them again. And I am totally okay with that. All right, so next, this was a new start, and I started this at Kathy's retreat. It is called, what is it called? It's an Emma Congdon, and is called New Shoots. It is a timeline of when the bulbs pop up in the garden, when you start seeing the shoots from all of the bulbs that live in the garden. And we have a lot of these in our yard and in our front yard and in our backyard. And so I just thought this was an amazing stitch, amazingly appropriate stitch, and I would love to have it where I can hang it up in our house every spring. And I'm stitching it on Celadon from Forbidden Fiber Company. This was Fabric of the Month, March 2022. So I only used half of the piece. I got a 1/4 of a yard of 32 count Belfast. And here is where I'm at. So a decent amount of progress. Of course, right when I hold it up, the sun's gonna do its thing. Anyways, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the progress I have on it. I would like to work on it this It's fun when you tell your family to be quiet and then they do things like that. I would like to add to this stitch this winter, and maybe even have it hanging in the house by springtime. I think that would be great. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but a girl can dream, can't she? All right, then, so that one I started, yeah, 3/20/23, and then another whip. So Long Dog Samplers, the token. This is an anniversary love whatever, an anniversary love piece that I have been working on since 12/22/18, and I am stitching it with a Silks For You silk. It bounces back and forth between like a 666 and 815, I would say, maybe somewhere in that 812 to 815 range. And I am stitching it on a 36 count Edinburgh Tycho from Picture This Plus, and I have gotten quite a bit of progress on this one. So the last time I think I showed this in a Flosstube video, I just had this corner of this motif done. So I stitched all of this motif, definitely this, and perhaps that, since I've last shown it to you. So we're getting there. This is one that I tend to bring out around our anniversary, around Valentine's Day. It's harder for me to stitch in the winter time because it is stitched with silk, so it can catch, if my hands are dry, it will catch on that. But I just really, really love this lovey piece. So it'll come out around those times, and then also if I just, you know, should feel so inspired. And then my last current everything I love so much whip is Consider the Lilies from Heartstring Samplery. This is like my favorite stitch that I've stitched of all time. It's so beautiful. Every time I add a new motif, I am like giddy and happy, and it just brings me joy. I'm excited for when I do get to finish it and have it on the wall, but I love so much to pick it up. It is a relaxing stitch, a beautiful stitch. The small motifs make it so that you feel accomplished. The border is a beast. The lilies take a while to stitch, but they are lovely. I definitely have been keeping count of, like, I keep count how many lilies I have done and how many lilies I have to go, because I think really that's really the hard part of the stitch. I'm working on the house, which is the beast of the stitch other than the borders. But I have the house all outlined, and I'm just working on the bricks, and I probably actually can't get up very close to you for this one. I'm gonna hold it right here and hope that it's in the picture frame just for a second. You should have gotten a good view, and then now I'm gonna come up to you. So I'm currently working here on the house. I'm filling in this brickwork. It like has a little kind of a pattern that you can pay attention to, but not really. I was like really, really worried about doing the mortar part of that house and thinking that it was going to drive me nuts with the counting, but it was easy to create a pattern in my brain with and do. So yeah, Consider the Lilies. I think with what I have done on the house, I'm officially halfway with the lilies, because while This one goes past the halfway mark. That one doesn't, down at the bottom. Needs to be completed. And yeah, I think it's gonna be neat. So everything that I have to stitch now, I've already stitched once in a different colorway. And I get to stitch it all over. It's gonna be like stitching it all over again, but it's been such a long time that it's not gonna be a problem, I don't think, in my brain. So I started Consider the Lilies. I think this is a 2020 start. 3/25/20. So it was my Yuck Times start, and I think that's why why it brings me so much like peacefulness, is because that's why I started it, was for that peaceful feeling, and it continues to bring that peaceful feeling. Coffee. Okay, one more whip, and then I'm going to show you my designs, and then you will be free. Well, you're already free. You can choose to just turn this off right now, but you will be free to go watch other Flosstube videos and enjoy other Flosstubers. I have just been, like I said, I've been eating up YouTube. I think part of it was having so much time off that I was tired. And I couldn't take in new TV shows and movies. I was watching like comfort shows, which there's nothing wrong with that at any time in life. I'm a huge comfort show, comfort movie person. But I wanted to take in some new content, and it really led me to YouTube, and back to YouTube, and I just really was eating up Flosstube videos and waiting for my friends to post new ones, and I'm just really enjoying seeing happy faces. Yeah, it's been, I'm happy to be back in YouTube, and I missed you all, and I just have been having Flosstube on while I stitch, while I write blog posts, while I, am kind of just living life. And it's one of the things that I don't mind having on in the background if my kids are down here. I'm not going to watch, an adult TV show, but I can watch Flosstube, and both girls stitch. And so if they're, if it catches their eye and distracts them, it's not as detrimental to me, and I don't feel as weird about it as if they're watching a cartoon that has blah. Watch Flosstube videos, get some enrichment from your life. So yeah, I'm rambly as usual. All right. Witchy Stitcher. So there was a stitch for Witchy Day because she has had some health issues, and so everybody was supporting her while I've on a spending freeze for new patterns. I was still able to contribute and stitch and bring awareness to the day, so hopefully others were able to buy patterns and stitch a pattern that I actually already owned from her. So I worked on the Cryptid Cell. And this is also on Bestitch Me fabric. I don't remember what it is called. But, so I worked on, I finished the Jackalope. So he was like partially done. And then I stitched all of the Yeti. And a little bit more of the border. As you can see from my projects, Liles and this, I'm not a stitch the border ahead and then fill it in person. It's yet to be determined if that is a good thing or a bad thing. Hopefully my Liles border matches up. Hopefully this border matches up. The reason that I do it, and I hope that my theory is correct, is that I have checkpoints throughout the whole pattern as to where things are supposed to be, and if those continue to match up, then my border should match up at the end, right? Right? Right. Okay. So that was all of my stitching of other people's beautiful patterns. There's probably some more in there that I've picked up and maybe put back down. I have made progress on my full coverage because, let me pull this out here. I got a new friend. So I got a Lowry last year, I think around Christmas time. And I will say that while I still like to hold my Q-snaps for smaller stitches, I love the speed that comes with stitching full coverage on a Lowry. So full coverage on a Lowry with my, what's that app? Like the magical app that lets you put the pattern in and highlight all the colors. Holy cow, for a girl that stitches cross-country-ish, color completing-ish, it is absolutely amazing. So that combo has pushed me ahead in the full coverage world. But I don't remember where I was when I showed you last. And so I think I will save full coverage for the next time I show off some whips and we can talk about where those are and how stitching those has been. All right, so more patterns. Patterns, new patterns. I should have moved those books. It probably looked weird the whole video that they're like right behind my head. Let's move them right there. Okay. Looks better. I don't think I'm really going to talk about books. I like reading, but I'm always very behind on what is new and what's coming out. But these are the books that I have read that live on this side. And then this is like my TBR and that stack right there. And then I have a couple of Kindle books that are TBR, and yeah. So I've got some reading to do, and that usually comes at this time of year also, where things are just a little bit slower. I did get a good chunk done. I think I set my Goodreads goal at 30 books this year, and I think I'm at 20. So while I don't know if I can read 10 books in a month and a half, I will be pretty close to it, I think. I don't really have anything that's like at the halfway point. All right, so patterns that I put out in my shop. This one I might have shown before. This one is, this is my lobster biscornu. Helen and I deemed it the dead lobster biscornu because lobsters actually aren't red until you cook them. They're like a brownish, sometimes blue, rusty color before you boil them or steam them or however, grill them, however you prepare them, then that's when they turn red. Anyways, lobster lessons from Maine. So this was what I designed for Stitch Maine 2 years ago. I was not able to go this year. It was during something else. Oh, it was during our camping trip this summer. And so I wasn't able to go to it, which was really sad. And I hope I get to go next year. It's such a fun, like, singular day of stitching. It's perfectly not overwhelming. Anyways, so lobster buoys, come on. Lobster buoys, little kind of geo designs and lobsters. The bottom's empty because you don't see the bottom, so there's no reason to stitch a bunch of fun stuff on there, but the sides and the edges and stuff have cool designs. The other thing that I stitched, what happened? Something happened. Something must have happened. But My forever awkward phrase, like when I feel like I'm not supposed to be somewhere, or like having anxiety about being somewhere, or don't know how to answer, like, why are you here? What are you doing? When I feel out of place is, I carried a watermelon. I Carried a Watermelon is from Dirty Dancing, a movie that everyone in our generation watched way before they should have, because when you rewatch it as an adult, we obviously didn't know what all of the things we're referencing, but it has some mature subject matter. And I think we all watched it really young and then didn't watch it for a really long time and then revisited it as adults. But anyways, that's the part that hits me the most, is when Baby goes to the party with all of the people that work at the camp, and she's really not supposed to be there, but she wants to be there, and she's getting her little Johnny crush on, and she just kind of blurts out, "I carried a watermelon," when they ask what she's doing there. And so, I Carried a Watermelon was born. I think people know this about me, but I design patterns. I don't put out patterns on a schedule. I don't design in a frenzy. I do have a reproduction that I'm working on, but other than that, I design what I want to put up on my wall in my house, and if you want to put it up on a wall in your house, I make it available for you. I have stitched, my Christmas ornaments are all ornaments that I have made for our tree, and then have put out to the world. But I Carried a Watermelon was just, it was one of those. I was like, you know what? I say that enough in life that it needs to be on the wall in our home. So the finishing on this, I originally thought that I designed it, and I may have. I designed it, I think, to fit in a 5x7. I design everything to fit. That's the other thing that I do. So I design stuff that I want to have on my wall. I also design to fit in store-bought frame sizes. If you stitch on 32 count fabric, which is my preferred count of fabric. This piece, I believe I stitched it on a piece of grab bag fabric from Color and Cotton, and I don't think it's 32 count, so that's why it's in this 8x10 frame with fabric in it. So what I did to finish this, and I think if you ever run into a problem with not having the right size frame, so I also didn't have enough of a border to put it into the larger frame. I also wanted the frame to be, I wanted it to be close to the edge of my border. So what I did was I mounted my piece on a piece of mat board, and then I covered I think this is just the piece of cardboard that came in the frame. I covered that, or it might be another piece of mat board, but I covered that with a piece of fabric that I thought went with it, and so it's like it has its own little custom matting. There's no glass on here, but I believe if you did buy and stitch this pattern on 32 count, that it should fit in a 5x7. But I think it's more of like a 6x8 in the way I have it right now, on whatever count that ended up being. And then the last pattern that I designed in the most recent one is my Draculas Welcome. I love the idea of a more traditional sampler with kind of like a traditional, like, welcome to our home sampler with like a spooky twist. There is a line in Dracula that is enter freely and of your own will. I don't know if he says welcome to my home before it. I changed it to say welcome to our home. All right, so a little background on where everything came from motif wise. And then, okay, so this fits in a 8x10. There is another version of this that does not have that is included in the pattern, that does not have the welcome to our home. It just has this line of motifs on the top and on the bottom. And it also will fit in an 8x10 frame. Julie did the alternate pattern that didn't have the welcome to our home and only did one line of the motifs, which I think is my pattern, and I think they're not, I don't know if they're in the same place or not. They might just be up a little bit higher off of the wording. She did it with just that and finished it in an 8x8 frame, I'm assuming, or maybe a 10x10 if she stitched it on a little bit larger fabric. But if you stitch this, either of the two patterns on 32 count, it will fit in an 8x10 without you having to do anything else to it. This is Picture This Plus Murky that I stitched it on. So, okay, these motifs, I did them in Petite Treasure Braid. I gave the DMC shiny for it. That's just about the same. So these are based off of Vlad the Impaler, the pictures of him. There's a like brooch like on the front of his hat. That is where this design came from. These are kind of just like a cross, which you would associate with most vampire stuff. So it's kind of more of like a iron cross style. The candelabras with the bloody candles were just kind of for fun. I used a toile for the red in here and the red on these, because the red on these is what it is from is shiny. So all of this is shiny because the inspiration for it is shiny. This house down here, this is not Dracula's castle from Bram Stoker's Dracula the movie as we know it. This is not Vlad the Impaler's castle, but this is a castle that exists in Transylvania, I want to say. It's based off of that castle. It's not exact. It's not on the, like this, the way I did it kind of on the rocks, sort of, to me makes it seem like it's on the water. But this castle and Vlad the Impaler are kind of all of what amalgamates to Dracula as we like him, know him, love him. So this is Draculas Welcome. And I love this pattern so much. This actually might be one of my favorites that I've designed, and it might be my favorite that I've designed just because of where everything came from for it. And the fact that there's two different ways to stitch it. You could very easily change that to my if you are a single person household, or like I said, you can just leave it off and do the enter freely and of your own will version, and then you don't have to worry about the my hour situation. But yeah, they both, like I said, they both fit in the 8x10. The other one has 2 rows of this, which if you are not into stitching with shiny stuff, which I wasn't really, so kind of happy that the model that I stitched only had that, and I left off the second row of it. But if you stitch it in a toile, it actually would be easier and it would still give you that shiny stitch. But I will link my Etsy shop in the comments. So that if you would like to purchase any of those patterns, you can. There are a couple Christmas ornaments in there. I know Christmas is coming up. Excuse me. But yeah, there are a few, so like I said, there are some Christmas ornaments in there. If you were looking for some, I don't have my Christmas unpacked yet, so I don't have them to show off. But I think that's it. I think this is where we're at. I'm really happy to be here in stitching world again, and I'm really excited. I have a retreat I'm going to. I'm going to a retreat. I'm going to the Library Stitchers retreat in April next year. So I booked that, which is really exciting. I've been really wanting to go to a retreat, and missing Stitch Maine this summer was hard, but I had a blast with my family on our camping trip, so not really like regretting missing that. And then the other thing that's kind of gone away, we have our Christmas, our Christmas stitchy thing coming up with our little local group, but you know, I don't know, life just has been lifing, and so there's not been a lot of time for stitching with friends, and so I'm really excited for stitching with friends. It seems like right now stitching with friends for me is only going to happen a couple times a year, but I'm excited for those couple of times, and hopefully I will be able to get out to a few more retreats and just really meet some more people, especially local. And I mean, I just feel like retreats are just such a special event, and it's always so exciting when you get to go to them. You get to meet new people, you get to see people that you already know, you get to meet people that you know from here that you feel like you know, and then everything just connects, and it's perfect, and it's great, and it's just a happy time. And so I'm really looking forward to more stitch retreats in my future, but definitely I have one on the books, and that makes me really happy in itself. So on that note, I think I will definitely set everybody free into the world. Thank you so much for coming back. If you've been subscribed to me for forever, thank you for not taking me off of your subscriptions list, even though I've been MIA. Thank you for really just coming back. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for liking my Instagram posts. Thank you for buying my patterns. It makes a difference. And I know in saying this in the cross stitch world is different because everybody that you are buying patterns from, for the most part, I mean, a lot of times you're buying them from real people, and that's real money that goes into their pockets and feeds their family, pays for soccer, pays for books for kids. I mean, it means something when you buy independent designers patterns. Even when you buy patterns from designers that are mainstream, I mean, it's going into a person's pocket. It's not going into a big corporation, and it's a good thing. So I think we keep this community rolling and keep doing what we're doing and keep supporting each other and just keep on keeping on. And I really love and appreciate you all, and thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for sticking around on my channel, and I will see you hopefully very soon.